Hi, this is Chaplain Tyler, and you're watching You Got This with Tyler. I'm going to be talking about compassion fatigue. This is a subject very dear to my heart. It's one of the things that as a chaplain I not only experienced firsthand multiple times, but I also helped provide support for the nursing staff, doing everything I possibly could to help them not have as much stress. The nursing profession is one that has a tremendous amount of stress. And it has changed, the profession itself has changed so much from what it used to be. Even 30 years ago, which isn't that long relatively, nurses used to be able to count on the fact that they could build relationships with people, they would be able to help them grow, help them get better, and they would be able to support them and support families. And occasionally there would be issues, of course. The circumstances that people would come into the hospital for would be horrible. But they would be able to take the time to get used to the trauma that they would be experiencing. Nowadays, that's not the case. Nowadays, what happens is that the acuity of people coming into the hospitals has gotten much higher. And there's a pressure to get people in and out as quickly as possible. And that's not all bad, but what it has done is that it has made it difficult for nursing staff to get used to and be able to integrate the traumas that they do experience. They don't have time. They just don't. Same thing has happened in long-term care. Same thing has happened in palliative care. And people who have gone into either assisted living or even independent living are much more, at least here in North America, are much more debilitated already, emotionally, mentally, physically. And the strain and the constant crisis that our nurses are facing is amazing. It's unbelievable. Nurses have some of the hardest jobs anywhere. Now, what is compassion fatigue? Compassion fatigue is basically trauma. It's a type of trauma. The difference between post-traumatic stress disorder and compassion fatigue, which is also known as secondary traumatic stress, is on who experiences it. It's not really based on how, it's not that primary traumatic stress is more significant than secondary. Studies have shown that that's not the case. Secondary traumatic stress can be just as devastating as primary traumatic stress. But the difference is in who experiences it. Someone who is experiencing primary traumatic stress, they're the ones who experience the trauma themselves. Someone who experiences secondary traumatic stress hears and empathizes because of their caring with the person who has had the traumatic stress. So it's just a matter of who experiences it. It is emotional and spiritual. It is, and it takes a great toll physically on the body. I've learned in research and in experience, both with others and myself, that we all have a specific set number, so to speak, of emotional and spiritual resource and physical resources that we can bring to bear in any situation. Most of the time, those resources are there to help us to cope with those crises and traumas that happen. And we can handle a certain number of them before those resources get too depleted. Now, who's at risk? Basically, it's anyone who is exposed to people and their traumas. It's anyone. This used to be, compassion fatigue used to be considered part of the healthcare community only. And even though I started my discussion today talking about nurses and their experiences, this isn't just about nurses. This is about anybody who cares for people and who is affected by what they hear and see and empathize with. So, for example, I know a chiropractor who cares for his patients very much, and went through a span in about a week or so of several patients telling him about some horrendous, horrible experiences that were happening. Now, 1 or 2, he's used to. 3 or 4, sure. But it seemed like every patient was doing this. And he became very affected by that and needed to find some counseling and some way to be able to cope. So it isn't just about nursing staff. In terms of personality type, who's affected more than anyone else? Well, if you've been following my videos, you know that I ascribe to the True Colors values identification system. And there are 4 primary colors: orange, gold, which talk about life structure, and green and blue, which talk about how people process information. Blue in particular reflects people who, or describes people who process information in their heart. And this is a major, major strength for them because it gives them the ability to empathize with others. It also becomes the doorway to compassion fatigue, the very strength that these caring people have, their open hearts towards others, becomes the bridge for them to be affected by what happens to other people. So people who are exposed to other people's trauma and are more at risk if they are blue, well, that describes nurses. The vast majority of nurses have a strong blue component to their personality. Teachers, same kind of thing. Teachers need to be caring in order to be effective. So a lot of teachers have a strong blue component. One of the misconceptions about compassion fatigue is, and what some people think is, oh, I wasn't strong enough, or that person wasn't strong enough to be able to handle the job. That is not the case. This is not a weakness. This is a strength. Only people who care can be affected by compassion fatigue. And one of the things that I had to work through is understanding that I was not at fault. It wasn't something that I could blame on myself as something I should have been able to do better, or I should have been able to handle the job better, or I should have been able to work through things quicker, or integrate things quicker, or just not be affected. That is faulty thinking, to be kind. That is people who do not understand, who have not been through it, in my experience, who cannot get over the fact that maybe something affected us, affected people that they didn't have control over. Now, there are things we can do to help. There are things and ways we can work with this, which I will talk about in brief later. But I wanted to give just a very quick introduction to compassion fatigue right now. And in subsequent videos to come, I'm going to break it down a little bit more. I'm going to talk about what it really is. I'm going to talk about some of the symptoms. I'll talk about some of the ways we can build resilience. And I also want to let people know that I am just finishing a course, an online course, to help support people who have compassion fatigue to be able to recover in a systematic and a more comprehensive way. I am basing this on not only my own experiences, but research, what others are saying, and what I've been able to help others with. So I will be advertising this course, not only in the videos, but on some posts and some ads. And if you're interested in that, you can get a hold of me at yougotThisWithTyler@gmail.com. Okay? Anyways, thank you so much. Again, brief outline of compassion fatigue, just a real brief summary, and I look forward to being able to help help you understand what it is, how to work through it a bit better, and how to support people with compassion fatigue, because it is a truly devastating and debilitating condition. It is hard to work through. So, be blessed this day. I believe in you, and you got this. This is Chaplain Tyler. You've been watching this video, and you got this with Tyler, and look forward to seeing you again. Bye.